Hello and welcome to ThePrint. I am Aamaan, and in our great speeches series today, we look at an address by Dr. Zakir Husain at the tri-decennial celebrations of the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan in Bombay on 7 December 1968. We revisit the speech on the eve of Dr. Husain's birth anniversary on 8th February. India's third president delivered this address at a time when the country was grappling with the direction of its education system, just 2 decades after independence. Dr. Hussain began by reflecting on the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan's remarkable growth over 30 years. The institution had grown from 12 students in 1938 to about 11,000 students, with more than 60,000 appearing annually for its Sanskrit and Gita examinations. The president then turned to what he called one great aspect of the Bhavan's work, its emphasis on preserving fundamental values from ancient Indian culture. He said, in this busy age of modern technology, in which time saving devices have destroyed all leisure, long speeches have hardly any relevance. However, I would be failing in my duty if I were not to refer to one great aspect of the Bhavan's work, namely its emphasis on holding fast to the fundamental and eternal values enshrined in ancient Indian culture. In the midst of a world falling to pieces under the impact of an abnormal technological avalanche. End quote. Dr. Hussain explained how early philosophers had focused on fundamental issues of life and self knowledge. He said, in the early years of human civilization, great thinkers and philosophers tried their best to focus our attention on the fundamental issues of life. They tried to see life steadily and to see it whole, because, as Socrates said, an unexamined life is not worth living. They also urged that the goal of all human endeavor was self knowledge or realization of God. End quote. The president noted that the spiritual pursuit, while focused on the individual, was also the foundation of social life and man's aspiration to serve others. He said, it must be remembered that this insistence on the cultivation of the religious spirit, although oriented overwhelmingly towards the individual, was also the fountainhead of all social life, of the aspiration of man to serve his fellow men, to establish equality and justice, and to abolish ignorance, pain, and sorrow. End quote. Dr. Hussain then addressed how the rise of modern science had temporarily pushed aside spiritual pursuits. He said, when modern science began about 300 years ago and began to develop at tremendous speed, adding substantially to man's material welfare and flattering inordinately to his endless lust for power, this pursuit of the spiritual was temporarily put aside. The glamorous achievements of technological societies made us forget the less ostentatious appeal of the spiritual, and for a time we even questioned the need of revelation or spiritual fulfillment. End quote. The president described how education had become obsessed with statistics and information rather than wisdom. He said, we were quite happy to lose ourselves in fantastic statistics of students, libraries, educational institutions, and universities. We thought that mere information was enough for human needs, to say nothing of knowledge and not at all of wisdom. We felt that science and technology was the be all and end all of human endeavor. End quote. Dr. Hussain warned that the exclusive pursuit of material welfare through science and technology had not brought the expected happiness. He said, to his great cost, man now finds that his pursuit of mere material welfare through science and technology has not been an unmixed blessing. The happiness which he once thought was within his grasp has eluded him, and modern technological societies find themselves under a great strain. End quote. According to him, the solution lay in reconciling science and religion rather than emphasizing either of them exclusively. He said, there can be only one solution to this problem. We must reconcile them both and pursue them together, so that man's conquest over the external world is matched by his conquest over himself. It is only then that man will be able to meet God, to discover himself, to give free scope to his creative impulses, and to find peace and happiness both within and without. End quote. Dr. Hussain explained Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan's most significant contribution. He said, it insists on the reintegration of science and religion, which is the essence of the Bharatiya Vidya it advocates. It also insists that Bharatiya Vidya can be appreciated and promoted through Bharatiya Shiksha, or a system of education where the cultivation of science and technology is blended with the cultivation of social, moral, and spiritual values and the development of a sense of social responsibility. End quote. The president emphasized that education which fails to synthesize science and religion ceases to serve humanity properly. He said, to the extent that education fails to bring about this synthesis between science and religion, education ceases to be education proper and fails to serve man. The Bhavan, therefore, has nothing but horror for a godless education which has created a man shaking with fathomless fear and consumed by uneradicated hatred. End quote. Dr. Hussain concluded by expressing his faith in the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan's approach to education. He said, "It is the faith of the Bhavan that education can meet this challenge successfully and help man to discover himself by combining scientific and technical training with the great cultural values of our tradition, captured and interpreted afresh by each generation for itself, to meet effectively the challenges of a changing world." End quote. Thank you for joining us on Great Speeches. For more from The Print, become a subscriber at theprint.in/subscribe. I am Aamaan in Delhi.